ThaiLawForum, and today we're going to discuss the new concept of Hitler chic that has invaded the Thai fashion world. CNN Go just published an article on the concept. Hitler-themed clothing and jewelry have recently become very popular in Bangkok. Hitler's face has been transposed onto a variety of images, all of which have, by many different groups, been deemed offensive.
Why don't we take a look at a few of the images that have been shown in the media, Allison?
Now, the first image is you see here. It's been called the McHitler, and it's a Ronald McDonald sign with its arm raised in a Hitler salute, and as you can see, Hitler's face has been transposed on it. This is very popular in Bangkok, and it's popular for young Thais to pose with, as you can see. I even spoke to a young Thai woman who described this statue as being cute.
Well, that's certainly offensive, Allison, but I understand that the image is also being presented on various images that are very popular with even younger people, with even children and children's TV shows.
Yes, indeed, Joe. Here, for your viewing pleasure, as it were, is a Hitler Teletubby. Now, this is the cute image of the pink Teletubby with Adolf Hitler's face transposed on it. I don't have very much to say on this, actually, other than to wonder at its inappropriateness.
Well, I'd also wonder what the intellectual property owners, which would be McDonald's Corporation and the whatever company produces Teletubbies and owns the intellectual rights, would feel about their images being converted into such an offensive form. But that's not really what we're going to talk about today. What we're going to talk about today is the cultural insensitivity involved in this. And I think, in fairness to the Thai people, a lot of the young Thai people and the teenagers are the primary group involved in this, are more guilty of ignorance than actual malice. The education in Thailand and the culture is quite different. The education that they receive in high school and in colleges doesn't necessarily stress European history, Northern European history, to a great deal. Thai students study Thai subjects. They haven't been trained in the same type of cultural sensitivities and political correctness that we're used to in North America and Europe. In fairness, the sword does, as offensive as the images are, the sword cuts both ways. I think there's examples that we can see in Western culture that are also quite offensive to Thai people, Asian people, and to other minority groups. The most direct example in regard to Thai people was the play, and then eventually turned into a motion picture. The original motion picture was with Yul Brynner. The second motion picture starred Jodie Foster, and then the motion picture was The King and I. And Anna and the King was, I think, the name of the later version. And this portrayed an image of the Thai king that was considered offensive. It was considered inaccurate. And the book, the movie, the video has been banned in Thailand. And that's considered in cultural sensitivity by the West against Thailand. And you also see other examples, such as the naming of baseball teams, the Redskins, which could be very insensitive to Native Americans. And the use of the Aunt Jemima icon, which is the stereotypical Southern black mammy, that image incidentally was changed as a result of societal pressure and campaigning. And now the image of Aunt Jemima pancakes no longer shows a very corpulent Southern rural black woman, but rather shows a black woman that appears more businesslike, modern, and more commanding of respect.
But I would argue that this is very different, Joe, because what you have here is Thai designers taking the image of an individual who was responsible for the death of 6 million people and attempted to exterminate an entire race, or several if you count the other groups that were targeted. And what you have here is that Thai designers have taken Hitler and glorified him, essentially. They have turned him into an image that is cute. They have turned him into an image that is popular. They have turned him into an image that is alternative and very desirable to young Thais.
It's certainly very offensive. I think the number is actually more than 6 million. 6 million Jews were murdered, but there were also a significant number of other groups, including gay people, gypsies, political undesirables that were also murdered by the Nazi regime. It's definitely offensive. I think that it's hard to find another comparable example in the news. The closest example I can think of is possibly Mao Zedong, who was also responsible for genocide in his own country. Yet in China, there's a fashion trend and there's shops catering to iconic images of Mao Zedong that have the Mao Zedong face emblazoned on t-shirts and coffee mugs. They sell Mao Zedong caps, and this has become quite fashionable. But it's still different because you see, China owns the legacy of Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong was a leader in China, therefore the people, the Chinese people that actually suffered the genocide, the murder as a result of Mao Zedong, they would seem to have a special right to either turn him into a pop icon, to criticize his actions, to comment on his action in what isn't at all a non-conventional or even humorous way. So I think there's a concept in society when you're the victim of a certain type of discrimination that you have special rights, that you have the right to discuss it. So you can see with the use of the N-word, black people have special rights in many circles. This is believed the black people are able to use the N-word in humor, in conversation, in literary matters, but white people would not, because then they, as the victims, have a special legacy that's attached to their cultural background that gives them the special rights. So conceivably, Jewish people or the other victims of Nazi murder would have the special rights, whereas the Thai people have no such claim to making sport of, to deriding, to having unconventional commentary about such a sensitive topic.
And I agree, Joe, and I mean, the spot of hope that I see in all of this is, in the last 6 months, I have watched several trends come and go in Thai fashion. I have seen empty glasses frames become very popular, and they came and went. I have the big eye contacts, and where young Thais would wear contact lenses that kind of eclipsed their irises, have become markedly less popular, thankfully. And the trend of wearing sweaters backwards has risen in popularity and then almost disappeared in a very short period of time. So can we expect the same thing for cute Hitler?
Well, I think that unfortunately the irony of this situation is that the uproar that's happened in the Western media and the fallout in Thai media sources might make the whole Hitler chic seem even more counterculture, more forbidden, and more public. So by criticizing this in a very, very visible fashion, we might actually be prolonging the trend longer than its natural course. And I think it's important to note that although many of the teenagers and Thai people that are involved in this are more doing this out of ignorance rather than malice, that this is 2012. We live in a global village. Thailand is an international destination. There's people from all over the world here. And many of these images are not being shown, or in these products are not being sold in some backwater in Thailand. This is in major Thai malls and shopping centers. And I think it's important for the Thai people to recognize that this is extremely insensitive to a number of people, and to rectify their actions.
And you can imagine, folks, what it must be like to be a tourist from Israel or Europe or even the U.S. and to be on holiday in Thailand, to walk into a store and to be confronted with swastikas and Hitler images. How unsettling and how upsetting that would be. The good news is that we did go to Terminal 1 today, to the shop in question, to check out what CN and Go have been discussing, and the McDonald's Hitler has been covered with the mask so you could no longer see Hitler's face. And the Hitler-themed merchandise has been more discreetly placed in this store so that it is not a very particularly prominent feature of the wares being sold. We can only hope this means that such images are going to be phased out sometime soon. This is ThaiLawForum. That's all we have to say for today.